What's up, guys? It's Mr. Javid, and we are back today for something very, very different. Something I have discussed for so long. First and foremost, let me welcome all my new guys. My absence has been crazy, but the pieces have fallen into place, and so now I bring to you for the first time in potentially years my road to top 10. And if you know anything about how I do mine, I like to add a little bit of risk to it, so, or just some kind of consequence. And so with the road to top 10, not only do I have to get to top 10, but I have to do it under a certain number of losses. And so for this one, I'm going to put it at 12. I cannot lose more than 12 games. If I lose more than 12 games, the road to top 10 ends. If I don't and make it to top 10 before that, then that's how it goes. So that way it's not infinitely me playing until I get to top 10, because obviously, if you've known me for a while, that's not really that much of a challenge. Is more so, well, can I do it under a certain amount? And I was gonna do it for 10. You know what? I'm gonna do 10. Let's do it. So I can't lose more than 10 games. Now, before we begin, because it's just going to be the introductory episode right from the bottom, I'm going to be dropping a lot of gems throughout this. I'd like to give a huge shout out to my man in the academy, Guardian Arcanine. Guardian Arcanine came in the Just for Jam channel. This is my Discord group, or I should say the community's Discord group, best Discord group for Pokemon on the planet. And so if you want to learn, link is in the description. We always welcome new members. Over 2,000 people already in there. But when you come to the academy, you know you're going to get results. Point blank, period. As long as you follow the patterns and exactly what we say. And so for the longest, I don't even remember what he came in at, but for the longest, he wanted to get to 1,700. And so he finally got to it because he had PM'd me, and told me what he was going through. And finally made it for the first time since last generation. He said versus this scary Shell Smash team, made a mistake and blah blah blah. You notice I say it's about time, bro. And I really want to share this conversation in particular, one, because I haven't done any shout outs in a while. I love shouting out people, but I also like to find out what changes for a person when they make that shift. And as you can see here, it was not some new skill. It wasn't some new technique he learned. It's almost always a psychological issue. Whether you feel like you don't deserve it, whether you're getting anxious or whatever. And so note the date. Today's the 24th. This was 4 days ago. I was just writing about that. Best players play against their potential, not trophy. And long story short, I said to him, I'll be getting that 1,800 ping soon. Mind you, this was a struggle for him to get to 1,800. But I just know when a person starts to get in that groove, when they're starting to drop their ego and be really teachable, it's just a matter of time. I've seen it potentially dozens, if not hundreds of times at this point. And so look who PM'd me later today saying, hey Jam, I did it. 4 days later, when he couldn't even get to 1,700, quickly gained his points up to 1,804, which is his peak right now. He's like, yeah, I've been crushing it lately. Mostly clarity, confidence in my build, improvement in my team preview process, winning lead, seeing the best plays for net gain rather than short-term victories. And we'll get into all of that. And I know it's a lengthy intro, but also shout outs to Toast as we get into this. Again, just an introductory episode, and because we are at the beginning of the ladder, well, excuse me, I was very wrong about that, because homie brought some heavy hitting mons. But I was going to say, because we're at the beginning of the ladder, I'm going to just bring, I don't even know, I'm gonna keep it 100 with you guys. It's been a while since I've played, and so I'm not even sure what the meta game is, but I mean, it can only change so much. So we're going to do our best to just outplay and make sound game plans and take value. You know how we do. And so immediately what comes out to me is this guy's lack of a ghost resist, and so stealth rocks plus spec shadow ball is going to go a long way in this one, in conjunction with my Tapu Lele's psychic, though he has 4 steel types, so that's not going to be as easy as I'd like. But also, if his Kyurem, it shouldn't be heavy duty boots, gets battered down, I'm in a really good spot. The only issue is that I just don't have an ice resist, and so Ferrothorn will likely have to be my go-to for that. And if it's sub body press Magnezone, then that could be problematic. Though I do have Choice Spec, Frustrated Dragon Pult to shut that down potentially. So I'm gonna get up rocks, get up as many hazards as possible, and Shadow Ball spam. If possible, weaken that Corviknight if possible, all these things. And so to avoid the potential Kyurem lead destroying me from the get-go, he's super Garchomp weak too, but I'm gonna Garchomp first, Corviknight, that's shiny Corviknight. I didn't expect Corviknight because he's so Lando susceptible, but because this is light, I'm expecting either a U-turn directly. I lose very little value by staying in here. He has body press. Okay. As I said, I lose very little value by staying in here unless he has something I'm not aware of. Let's see if he's max defense. This that matters a lot. Okay, so he has Brave Bird. So that Stone Edge miss might have made a huge difference, because the Stone Edge damage plus the Brave Bird damage might have meant I'm looking at a 2-kill here, depending on what his Corviknight is, as I said. So that mattered a lot, especially because LELE, this is probably his best consistent LELE answer. Do I focus blast? I have Thunderbolt, so I guess maybe not. I can't really hit Ferrothorn and Heat Transfer super effective. So that's tough. That is a tough situation. I don't want Garchomp getting too low. I'll Stone Edge once again to see. Okay, I get a crit there, which is great, especially if he Brave Birds again. Excellent. And so I could have Scale Shotted there if he didn't die, but Corviknight being gone is huge. Now Landorus just clicks Earthquake every time, and now the only thing he can go into is Ferrothorn. And he has to go to Garchomp here, which allows for me to go to Landorus. Pretty much take all his value, right? At best, you can risk a speed tie, use Scale Shot, drop your defense. I could go to LELE too, because I know he's forced. Actually, he's not forced to Scale Shot, but it really wouldn't make much sense not to Scale Shot here. He's kind of in the back, but this is the beginning of the ladder, so I'm not expecting him to. Yeah, not expecting him to do anything too crazy. And so I'm gonna get the value right here with the Stealth Rocks. Kyurem can come in, and you know the reason I ride the Stealth Rocks here in this case is because if Kyurem is not the mon that he brings in, interesting. Let me think. So now his options would be Ferrothorn. Thinking Earthquake value off Ferrothorn, what's that worth to me? Actually, it's worth a lot because I can just Earthquake U-turn out into my own to prevent him from getting any Leech Seed value. And once this goes away, this is the only thing left that can really take on my Dragapult, unless that's a Scarf Garchomp. But I think at this point, it's going to be pretty hard for him to pull anything off. And so he Leech Seeds as I expected. Now things get a little more interesting. Well, I guess I could, instead of... I don't have anything to super effectively hit Ferrothorn other than my Dragapult. So that's something to be mindful of. I'll knock off here. That's the way he can never get value back. He may have knockoff of his own. He spikes. That's fine. I'll spike up as well. It's not fine, but I think I'll get way more value out of it, particularly if he's not Scarf Chomp. If he is, then Lando always shuts him down, and Lando doesn't take any spikes damage. So he Power Whips and allows me for 3 layers of spikes. Obviously knockoff will knock him out there. My Leech Seed, so he hard switches to Tran, which surprised me. But because he only laid up 1 layer of spikes, that means my Garchomp, as I said, it just depends on whether he's this is what leftovers. All his mons are shiny. All my man's mons are shiny. Mandibuzz is pretty low value. I'm not sure if I'm Spadef. I can take potentially 2 Magma Storms, yeah, and U-turn out rather than because my Garchomp is leftover, so that guarantees me a kill. And I think, okay, so Earth Power is predicting, I don't know. I mean, again, this is lower ladder, so, but his team is actually quite solid. So Garchomp would come and take leftover. Yeah, I'll be able to because he's just gonna sack his Ferrothorn. So there's no point in me like scale shotting. Oh, he just gave me Heatran, maybe fearing that. Else I don't know, but I can take spikes. The Force-Ness Chomp here, which you obviously don't want because you don't want to take 3 rounds of rocks. I mean 3 rounds of spikes and okay, Ghost Kyurem. Unless this is Scarf, which is fine. I'd want to use that. I want that information. We're just gonna scale shot here. Okay, excellent. So this game should be over now. Unless again he's Scarf Chomp. But you know, in looking at this team, I don't really, you know me, I don't really dig too deep in my teams, which I should for something a little more serious like a road to top 10. But I figured, you know, since it's the beginning parts of the ladder. But that game was actually a lot more threatening than I expected. Homie had some hitters. So, you know, just understanding the fundamentals of the game should get you past most things. But the upside that the lower ladder players tend to have is shit like this, right? They have such unique mons, and so you just have to understand, you know, the 3 pillars, right? Knowledge, skill, and awareness. If you don't know what those are, is in the description down below. All the resources are free, or you just join the academy, and almost everybody in the academy should know this. I want this stuff to be common knowledge to everyone everywhere, because if you can understand this, it is the literal game changers. People try to learn the new wacky trick. What's the new team? And that's not what you need to know. You need to understand the fundamentals first, and then not understand it like here and there, because most people don't. If people realize just how valuable that was, then that alone could take you to 1800, 1700 instead of trying the next new wacky team. So it's just, again, but I've been talking about this for years, and you know, it's just gonna take some time, and that's why I'm here. And so immediately I noticed that Ferrothorn guards against maybe 5 members, and so that's gonna be really important. Landers offensively, you know, ground move destroys here, destroys, and defensively really only focuses on the Crocodile, and Mandibuzz too. Mandibuzz is important for Sceptile, Ferrothorn for Inteleon, and everything except Crocodile. So these 3 should wall his entire team, and then me clicking Moonblast should suffice for everything else. I do want to be careful of Amistar. You know, I'm not sure what to expect from that thing, and so part of me wants to Ferrothorn. I guess that's very little downside. And then Garchomp and Lando should do the rest. So Ferrothorn for Amistar. Now, I know Porygon Z can nasty plot and stuff, and this is lower ladder, so you know it's probable. And my other thing is trick, right? If he tricks my Ferrothorn, that's really bad. But he also could just agility here, and that's bad too. And so these are things you have to take into account when it's lower ladder, because I'm gonna power whip directly. He nasty plots right, which is okay. So we managed to hit the power whip, which is a 2-hit KO. His adaptability. So this is gonna hurt. I'm debating whether or not it's worth even allowing my Ferrothorn to take this damage, because it's gonna do about 50, and a Shell Smash Amistar could be problematic later on if I allow him to do 50% to me. Now, the other thing is he could also try to agility here, because he just has no concept of value and all that stuff. And so, you know, I could switch and end up losing half my Ferrothorn's health and another Mon in addition. So, it's just a matter of whether or not I want to risk this 85% hitting. Dark Pulse, that shouldn't do too much, please. For the love of fucking God. Lower ladder things. LELE what I want to go to. LELE is slower than, no, it's faster than Crook. That's so annoying, man. Because he just got a lot of value for nothing. I got nothing out of that. And so my Ferrothorn, which is the point of me staying in, but you know, this is Mons, right? And so I'm just debating whether LELE would be the least. I can't have Ferrothorn taking a lot of damage. If LELE gets hit, it gets hit. Okay, thankfully Dark Pulses, I know I take it. And so we managed to get somewhat out of that. Ferrothorn, obviously, it would have been nicer if Lele didn't take any damage, but I don't think it's going to, need to be at full for any particular reason, not in this game. So it goes Dynasty, which is best case for us because we get to keep our Ferrothorn. He's going to Diamond Storm, and we get to get back up. Actually, I'll Spike here. Leech Seed isn't as valuable, especially if he goes hard to Sceptile. The Spike will go a longer way. What's Dynasty going to do to me? We get back up to 63. Okay, so he just forfeits. Excellent. I probably should register this. I'll register it after the next battle. So we managed to get through our first two. With these roads, I always wondering, like, should I just like record everything all the way up, or should I like do like a run through, get up to like 1400 and then blah blah blah. But these lower ladder guys are fun to watch, so I'd recommend just watching everything. But like, look at this craziness, man. It's when you're in that sort of grassroots stage where you're just like, I don't know what I'm doing right or wrong, and so I'm gonna just use my favorite mons and call it a day. But something like this, super Ghost Week, super Garchomp susceptible after a Swords Dance. Ferrothorn, very difficult for them to kill. Nidoking could be problematic. If I can remove the Registeel, then I just Psychic, Moonblast, spam. It's just a question of how I want to go about it, right? Golisopod, whatever, probably is going to be out. First impression, Stone Edge. I'd much rather Dragapult. Actually, is just a lot of value being taken here. Interestingly enough, I just don't trust this not being Sash. I just don't trust this not being Sash. So you do what, Ice Beam. So I'm going to U-turn here. Okay, so he knows enough to go Registeel, which is why I didn't want a Draco, because Draco would have knocked him out. So he knows enough to go Registeel. So we got a real heavy hitter here. And so because of that, I'm going to play him a little more subtly. So rather than me, right. Excellent. So he knows enough to know, okay, well, why do I feel like Thunder Wave's coming out here? I don't feel comfortable going into my Dragapult directly. I'm going to go to my Mandibuzz Heat Wave. Okay. Because I wanted to go Dragapult, I think, and Roost here. Okay, excellent. So let's register this. Alright, we registered. But, yeah. 3 wins under our belt, guys. I think we can do it. Man, I have so many exciting projects coming up for you guys. You have no fucking idea. But, the hiatus was necessary. I just was like, for the greater good of the academy and just getting back to some clarity in where I want to take things. Because, again, there's just so many things I want to do. It's going to require everybody's assistance. And so I just want to make sure that I can do so. I just realized how Volk weak I am. So I can't ever let him touch my Garchomp. And then I got to hope I don't miss the Stone Edge. But I'm very Volk weak. Lele has to keep it kept at the utmost so that Ozzy doesn't get out of control. So Lele Chomp pretty much going to be at full at all times. It's pretty weak to Moonblast anyway. Mandibuzz is going to be critical to guard against the Rillaboom. And somewhat Dragonite as well. Landorus somewhat for Dragonite and Rillaboom as well. Oh man, just all these points. I'm wondering where they're getting these teams. Because their teams look formidable, but I guess you get into the game and somebody passes your team, you're in the academy or you're whatever, but that's a good thing. Like they're not running like Beedrill, and if Beedrill's even in the game, I don't think Beedrill's in the game. Things like that, like the lower ladder, which is what I want. Like I want a competitive community where information is easily accessible, like it's broken down so the steps are there. It's just a decision of whether you think you're too smart. That's really what it comes down to. The information is there. It's just, do you think you're too smart? You already know everything, and if you do, then it explains where you're at. But if you know you don't know everything, then the information is there, easily accessible, and you'll see the results faster than anything else you can find. So I just recommend that. It's free, all this stuff, man. So let's see. Landorus doing a left to right analysis because we got to get back up to speed. Guards primarily against his somewhat his Melmetal. And that's about it. But offensively, it's super effective against 3 of his members and then toxic his Lando. So Lando's pretty damn good. Pretty low risk for me. Ferrothorn's primary for the Tapu Fini. And assist with Melmetal to a lesser extent. But the hazards are going to go a long way, particularly because I have Dragapult to spin block. Anibus core purpose is going to be what? Assist with Blacephalon, I kind of. Tapu Lele is just spamming these Moonblast, yeah. And Garchomp, Swordsdance, Garchomp can destroy my opponent if I toxic his Lando. And then Shadow Ball spam is also great. So a lot of value all around. The most dangerous thing to me is this Blacephalon for sure, and then Melmetal to a lesser extent. And so I don't see too much downside to the Landers. One, I know this is ladder, so he's gonna leave it his own. It'd be pretty whack if he stays in. I mean, if he U-turns and I get no value here, because I could get rocks up. But what I don't want is for him to stay in toxic as I rocks and then he hard switches. That would be pretty tough for me. And then he hard switches to Lele the next turn. So I'm more willing to have him U-turn here than to have him toxic. So he knocks, which is the best of both worlds. Please hit. Oh, yo, pull out your bingo boards, guys. So excellent. This is best case. We get both. And Lele, not Lele. What's it called? May come in. Tentacruel is very likely faster than me. I think it naturally is, even without speed investment from here. Tentacruel is base 100. I don't think many people know how your boy Tentacruel gets down. But yeah, that boy is fast. Let's Polt here, even though I'd like to keep Polt in the tuck. Okay, so he does spin hard. Which implies what then? Spin and knock off. Am I willing to lose Garchomp's leftovers for some Shadow Ball damage? I mean, am I willing to lose? How much do I think his leftovers will matter? I don't think I want Garchomp taking any damage. But is that worth more value than I think Dragapult will be? I actually don't mind not having my item here. Unless he's like max Spadef, which is not the case. Yeah, it knocks. And so Shadow Ball, 2 Shadow Balls into a Draco will kill me. He can't revenge kill me. Yeah, I don't mind not having my specs here. Since he has a Grimmsnarl. And, you know, Grimmsnarl resists Dragapult's dual stab. And just don't think it's the biggest value taker being specs here. And so there goes the Grimmsnarl that I was expecting. So the question is, like, what does it have in store for me, right? It could be Taunt, it could be Thunder Wave, it could be all these wonderful things. And so what we're going to do is, yep, that's exactly why I switched. What we're going to do is punish with a lot of hazards here. I'll knock first on the off chance he does that. And he's Light Clay. Excellent. Let's see. Yeah, where does these guys getting these, like lower ladder is getting lit. So light screen. So he probably has dual screen here. What's a better position? Power Whip doesn't really give me much value here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go hard to my Landers. He doesn't have an attacking move, and so he can't touch Landers. He should screen, right? And then entice him to yep. I don't know why he taunted, but I'm basically just trying to stall out the screens here. Do I want Psychic Terrain up? What do you think? Is there any downside to that? Psychic Terrain means he can't Thunder Wave, but I mean that doesn't really matter. I could Moonblast here. That would mean that his Melmetal comes in with Reflect Up. Where's Blacephalon potentially? With a fresh batch of light screen. Is that what I want? Not, I will, but not yet. So let him light screen here so I can stall out a little more turns. Right. And so Reflect has 2 turns left. He can't do anything, right? And so Tentacruel comes in. I don't know if he knows Dragapult doesn't have Psychic is really good now. Now that I know his Grimmsnarl set. But what I'm gonna do here is Shadow Ball, because again the gold Infiltrator gets through everything, so it doesn't matter as much with that. But I see how he's faltering, right? He doesn't realize that Psychic Terrain is up, so he can't Thunder Wave me. And so I want to say Flamethrower can knock him out from here. I don't think it matters, but I don't want him setting up Reflect again, which he's about to do. Which one do I give more of a fuck about? I'll Shadow Ball first. Yeah, I figured he wouldn't realize. Okay, and so he's gonna get the Reflect up. That was a quote-unquote risky play. But I can always defog if I need to. And the biggest hitters on my team, you know, biggest hitter on his team is, at this point, would be Finny, and I can just Psychic Terrain spam that one. And so I'll force Tentacruel in, which is a passive mon. I guess he could go Finny here, but with Ferrothorn at full, Finny's never doing anything. Yeah. Finny's never doing anything unless he gets a lot of luck. So we're gonna knock first to start this off, just to make sure he can't get any HP back. And if he goes to Blacephalon, I got him. Nice. So it's just like slow play value. Because I don't know my opponent's skill levels, I'm just never gonna just make unnecessarily risky plays. I can just slow play this and beat the opponent. Particularly because he doesn't know how to solve the problems that are put in front of him. So I wouldn't be shocked if he forfeited soon. 31%. Yeah. Okay, no, my man's a trooper. I respect it. Can't Draco Meteor for the KO because Misty Terrain is up. I love how my awareness is a little higher since the break, because those are things I'd forget in the moment. And so best case scenario, him rocking here would be of a lot of value to him, because I think because he hasn't been able to rock, I've been able to get a lot of switch ins and outs. And so now it's at a point where it's a bloodbath, because the Grimmsnarl is gone and you can't resist Psychic. If you're not a Dark type versus Specs LELE, it's over with. And so LELE is gone. I mean, Finny's gone, but it wasn't even Calm Mind, which would have been the only real mon. And so to prevent any kind of shenanigans here, so that Dragapult can, like, let's say it's Choice Scarf, I want to make sure that he can't boost, so Dragapult can come back in and destroy. If he's not, then he'd switch moves here. Somebody think you turn. No, there's no reason not to foul play though. Melmetal will take at least 30 from this. 37. It's good damage. And because Ferrothorn isn't needed anymore, I'm open to throwing it in just for what's it called? Recoil. Yeah, double iron bash. What's his face? Recoil. The spike here. Oh, spike again. Finally sets up rocks. Okay. I'll knock off on the off chance he tries to go to Blacephalon. Watch, this is the turn that we won't get. Yup. Knock. It's fucking ridiculous, man. That's fucking ridiculous. But based on how much Shadow Ball that I don't think he can 2K him, he seems choiced. Is that Spexed? I don't think it matters. I mean, he's certainly something. I think that's Spexed. Now we're gonna relearn calcs here. I don't think you're doing that much to me unless you're Specs. Though Blacephalon has a lot of attack, but what's a lot of special attack, I mean. But Mandibuzz is no joke when it comes to special defense. But it's just funny that the game is like, yeah, jam, screw what you think. So it's timid. Wow, that's actually, it's probably Scarf. I don't want him to have a Shadow Ball win con, so I'm going to sack here. It's probably Scarfed. And this is annoying because whatever. Because I know he's going to Landers, but now I have to risk a scale shot miss, which I guess isn't horrible. My God, I really should play these games in a way where I know that I like. The number one thing, particularly in Rosewood, I'm glad that I'm relearning this lesson early, is if what the game tends to try to do is, because like Bucephalon never kills me, Shadow Ball is 55, but what the game tends to try to do is find a way to hacks me, right? Hacks me in a way where I could lose. And so you see 3 paras in a row. I'd have had spikes, all this, and the turn he switched, and it would have been rocks. Or so the game tries to find a way to hacks me so I can lose. And my job as a player, as a solid, as I get back to my refreshing up and stuff. It's just a low ladder. Is to play in a way where there is very little risk of luck. And I think I did a decent job at that in this. It's pretty hard to control 3 para hexes in a row, and because of what he had in, he could have U-turned at any turn. So I didn't want anything else being U-turned on, because it would have just put me back in the same spot. So leaving Ferrothorn in was the best play. Obviously, if we knocked out the choice card, then Dragapult could have destroyed him. But if he got +1, Fire Blast could kill my Dragapult from where he's at, and I'm very surprised that Fire Blast did that much. So we're at what, 1164. Let's grab one last one since I haven't played in so long. But good start. The lower ladder just seems more solid. Like I feel like these guys aren't just. Look at this team, man. This is a fortress he brought. And if these are the right sets, he could easily give me a hard time. My man has 2-3 of the best steel types for LELE. Well, maybe not Magnezone, but like he has a super solid team. And so I'm probably gonna have to slow play this one. It'll depend a lot on what his zone is. I'm hoping it's specs, because Ferrothorn is my Kyurem counter, and if I get trapped because it's body pressed, then it puts me in a really hard spot. Thankfully, he doesn't have any ghost resist, and so much like the previous game, if he allows me to weaken Corviknight or destroy it early, then we're looking at a if he allows me to destroy Corviknight early, we're looking at a spikes and hazard stack game. Now, question is, well, if Kyurem is the deadliest thing, I can't lead with anything that's not LELE or LELE, Ferrothorn, or Dragapult. Cannot start with anything other than those. And so Pex's value, assuming he starts with that, would mean I'd have to lose my Ferrothorn's item. So I'm actually going to just LELE. I think LELE value-wise brings the most to the table. I expect Kyurem. The question is, does he go Corviknight? Either way here, Psychic is my best play. I'd love to Thunderbolt Corviknight. That's a very good, but like value-wise, you want to make sure you get some value out of the turn. He shouldn't be foolish enough to Ice Beam, right? I figured Corviknight would be his initial, especially if he's Spadef, which is not the case. Oh, I get a Spadef drop. That's huge. That means he can't stain, and I 2-hit KO this Corviknight the next time it comes in. So Ferrothorn's going to have to take about 30-35% here. 41%. Holy bulls. So that was a huge Spadef drop there, but also that means he cannot beat my LELE easily. That's a max defense Corv, which means that's probably his main bet against my Chomp, unless it's a defensive Lando as well. But that also means that my Pulse Shadow Ball goes a long way, and so I wouldn't be shocked if he went for knockoff here, because Ferrothorn is my Kyurem. I need that little bit of leftovers, and so we're gonna go Landers here. To get these rocks, get these rocks up. I don't think rocks are as important as stopping that Kyurem from coming in. I lose a little more value if Kyurem comes in. As much as I'd want rocks, if Kyurem hard switches in, he gets to Ice Beam my Ferrothorn twice. Versus, Yeah, I'm gonna just U-turn here. He leaves it in, which I disagree with, but I figured he'd do something like that. And best case, you know, I'll destroy him with my I wonder what toxic stealth rocks. I just don't want to give I just don't want to give. No wonder he's playing so well. He's from the academy. I don't want to give his. Yeah, I figured he'd go Corviknight, but I'll remove his item as long as it doesn't have his item and I have rocks up. Lele to it KOs it, and if he removes the rocks for me, then he gave me a lot of value for. Okay, he's just gonna give me Corviknight. Okay, cool. So spikes. So that's gonna punish his. I don't think he's body press. I mean, not body press. I don't think he is. So Leech Seed again here. Yeah. So Pex is. I don't think he is body press zone, which means he might try to Leech Seed. I mean T-Spike here. He might knock off though, and there's just so many mites, right? There's so many mites. So, but. Landers, rocks are the things I'm most willing to lose. I don't think he'd ever Scald. Toxic Spike, something I don't want to see. But so he just leaves it in to recover, which is a horrible play. I recovered there was never it. Depending on my style of landers, depending on my landers, psychic U-turn. But I think he's gonna leave this in to recover, which would be really shitty for me. I want to have Corviknight in, but his T-Spikes suck for me a lot. And so I'll have to remove those eventually, which is a smart T-Spike. Him letting Pex go is really big for my Dragapult. So I'm thinking, well, let's say he goes Corviknight here. Yeah. I can't defog yet. So now he's gonna body press just fine. I'll get my health back with the Leech Seed. Okay, now he goes hard to Pex to recover, right? And this Corv has gotten his health back. Yeah, his T-Spikes are too problematic. Should always go Corviknight here. Yeah. Wonder what his other move is. I'll just U-turn into Mandibuzz. But yeah, well, maybe I don't have to play it like this. Maybe I don't have to play it like this and just win with. The question is who I'd rather have. So, for example, if my Lele comes in, because I'll go Mandibuzz. My Lele comes in for free. I can play Lele to the. So he has U-turn, which you know we don't want for Kyurem, but forces Kyurem to come in. And this is what we were concerned about with the Ferrothorn coming in on the Kyurem and then having to take the Ice Beam. But because I'm so heavily specially defensive, it won't. So I'll probably try for a Shadow Ball sweep. Oh, yes, Focus Blast. That's tough. It wouldn't have KO'd me, but that mattered a lot. That mattered a lot. Yeah, that mattered a lot. That mattered a lot. That mattered a lot. But that's Focus Blast, man. You can't really depend on it. Don't think he has knock on this. I think he would have used it by now. South Rock, where do you fit knock? You have to have an attacking move in Leech Seed, I'd assume. So he'll spike again for that last bit. He has to heal soon. He has defog. There it is. Okay, so he defogged for us, which is actually huge. So we're gonna Leech Seed here. Oh, that's a big miss. It's a big Leech Seed miss. But that's fine. We'll spike. That's a actually horrible U-turn, particularly if he goes to Pex, goes to Kyurem. Again, you know, he could focus blast, which I don't think he'd ever do again. But I don't die unless I die, and then I realize this now. Focus. I just think it's well, Lele. Let me think. If there was anything I'd want to risk dying here, well, I'll lead seed here. Should ice beam right, and I take right. Excellent. Okay, so 72. That's huge. So 43. Bring me down to there. I'll be back up to where I won't die. He should go back to Corviknight here. Look how well he's playing. Like, he's taking, man, I'm so proud of him. I'm so proud of him. But yeah, that was a huge focus blast miss. But that's focus blast. Like, what are you gonna do? You know. And so I'm pretty sure I'm getting into the position where I can go because I'm expecting Pex. I was expecting Pex sooner or later, and I think I can sweep him now. He scalded, especially because he scalded there. Like, you never scald there. You toxic spike every time. That was a huge, like, store. And then he's giving me his defogger. Yeah. My opponent got like some really tough luck in this one. The Spudev dropped early, but the moment I figured out he was Fizdev Corviknight, it was being pretty difficult for me to lose. We might see Curum again here, so left over you turn into Curum or EQ into. I mean, what would you do? Like, if you're defensive Lando, you die. I'll let Lando die. I'm open to letting Lando die. 4%. No, I don't want. So he knocks again, which implies that he's scarfed. Had I gotten rocks up there, the game was over because Corviknight died. But the way he's playing, this is seeming to be a scarf Lando. And so I'm just going to win then, if that's the case. If he's not, then he'll switch up moves here. Right, figured Corv. Now scale shot here. And so Lando comes in, and that's what we want. Oh, he goes Pex. To double back out to Lando. Makes sense. Problem is, I have no reason not to just scale shot again. It does so much, and your Pex, you're just a toxic Pex. Unless you're gonna GG. GG, bro. He might go Lando here, but it's just such a free SD, and Lando can't really do much to me back. Yeah, like it's just very little reason for me not to Swords Dance again. Respects Curum, obviously, so he just kill. But the end game, the fact that it's a 6-0 does not reflect the game. This is something I used to say all the time back in the day. Like, the result does not reflect the end game. Like, he had a really tough team. Thankfully he wasn't Spudev Corviknight, because it would have been a really hard matchup for me had that been the case. And so he just finishes games off with knockoff. I mean, it's foul play, I suppose, because he's clearly choice scarfed. Very well done. I'm very, like, he did not play like somebody who deserves to be in the 1100s. So I know he's going to be a beast coming up, whoever this guy is. I'll just keep following the process. What did I learn? What did I do well? I was hoping that would take me to 1200, but that's where we're going to end it today. As the first episode, guys, I want to see at least 300 likes. Hit that like button. Let everybody know the Academy has returned. The Jam Bat has returned. So I have a lot of content coming. Yeah, a lot of things coming. It's just wait till you see, guys. But yeah, thanks for watching again. Hit the like button right the hell now, and peace.